Hello and welcome to round number one. We lost the die roll and our opponent has kept seven, and we have an interesting hand here to consider. There's a Memnite, a Signal Pest, and two Vault Scourges in terms of cards that we can actually cast. Past that point, we have an Edge Champion, a Galvanic Blast, and our one land is actually the one island in the deck, which now that I'm thinking about it, should probably be a mountain because we have Galvanic Blasts. More Galvanic Blasts than Thought Scout or Thought Casts, but still, this hand is a little awkward. We can play a Memnite and a Vault Scourge on one, or a Memnite and a Pest on one. It's the kind of hand that desperately needs another land, or a Mox Opal, or um, a Springleaf Drum, basically, to get going. But I think it's a keep, so yeah, we're going to go ahead and keep this hand, and we'll see how it plays out. It could easily backfire on us. And I think I'm going to lead with Memnite and Scourge. Alright, so our opponent's playing Tron, which is generally a pretty good matchup for Affinity, so hopefully this works out pretty well for us. And I'm going to cast Scourge instead of Signal Pest. It's the same amount of damage, but we gain a life, and I think having the Scourge in play is just a little bit better depending on what we draw. Alright. Affinity does, or Tron does play Pyroclasm, so that is a card that we need to be aware of, and hopefully we don't get wrecked too bad by that. So he has Ancient Stirrings, and he finds an Urza's Power Plant to go with his tower. So generally speaking, he plays a Mine, which is, so we know he has Tron next turn. Plays a Relic of Progenitus, which doesn't do anything against us, which is sweet. Land. Can we not draw a land? Our draw was pretty bad. So now I'm going to jam the Signal Pest because it represents an extra 2 damage, where this Scourge only is 1. So if our opponent plays a Karn and ends up blowing up our land, that's going to be really bad for us. So we're hoping that doesn't happen. Something like a Wormcoil Engine's better for us because we can race Wormcoil pretty well with Vault Scourge, Cranial Plating, and all these other cards. Okay. Oh no, Pyroclasm. Alright, well. Hopefully we draw a land. Nope. Alright, so we just have to play another Vault Scourge. I'm not even going to bother playing this because it's not turned on. And I don't see a reason to do that. And blowing the relic's fine because, well, it's not, doesn't do anything against us. And there's that power plant. This might be an Ugin. Yep. Well, we're basically dead. Alright, we drew a Nexus. Ugin can just shoot Steel Overseer, so I'm just going to play Cranial Plating and leave it at that. Again, no reason to play this yet. We can play it next turn. We might be able to cast Edge Champion. But our opponent probably gets to ultimate this Ugin, which is going to be bad. There's a Karn. Making us exile a card's fine. I think I'm exile Steel Overseer because we might need the Galvanic Blast Ugin. Oh no, Ghost Quarter is just actual wasteland or strip mine against us because we have our one basic. Alright, so let's go ahead and cast a Mox Opal. And then cast Dutch Champion. And then Galvanic Blast our opponent. This way we get to keep Ugin off of ultimate, which is the most important thing. That I don't want to redirect to Karn. I do want to redirect to Ugin. We can't let Ugin ultimate. Fortunately, this Edge Champion doesn't do anything against Ugin. Or Karn, actually, for that matter. Bye bye, Edge Champion. Bye bye, Cranial Plating. Chromatic Sphere. And let's see what we draw. We're basically dead at this point. I'm just playing on really for no reason, but I guess like maybe we should have. I mean, we should have mulliganed the hand is the easy decision to come to. Uh, man, does it even matter? So attack Ugin. Basically, the argument is like we could have mulliganed our hand, but I don't like to base decisions based on like what happened. So I'm just gonna go ahead and concede at this point. We're not winning this game. Although this is one of the best matchups for Affinity, so it sucks that we did have such a bad game one against them. Okay, so what do we want? We want Thoughtseizes. Ancient Grudge is not that good against them. None of these other cards seem very good against them. So I think it's just Thoughtseize we want. And I'm going to cut Etched Champion because it's such a miserable threat against their deck. Basically everything kills it, and it's only a 2/2 for 3 mana, whereas all of our other threats are just much more powerful. Welding Jar seems really good here to regenerate against a Pyroclasm. Let's see, Spellskite. Nope. I don't like trying to rely on cards like Grudge. Spell Pierce could be fine. If there's some card in our deck that's just really bad. But I don't think so, so I don't think I want Spell Pierce against a deck with Tron, but maybe I do. I can counter Nugan or something. If they're trying to cast it on curve. Alright, so we get to be on the play, and what does this hand do? We'll keep this one. We have Inkmoth Nexuses, which are pretty good against them, but again, it's kind of a mediocre hand. So we get to cast and cast this. We do get to Thought Cast next turn, though, which is fine. Oh, wait, do we? Maybe not. So we don't have that many artifacts, but... Let's see what our opponent's doing. He's playing a Chromatic Star. Alright, something good. Another Nexus. Inkmothing our opponent could be a really easy path to winning this game. So... right now we have 2 artifacts, so Thoughtcast is going to cost 3 mana, which we can't pay. So I'm actually just going to play... well, that's unfortunate. I want to remember which one's which. It usually... I think the bottom one's the one that we had already. It's really awkward on Magic Online because you could easily activate the wrong one. Okay. So it's a pretty anemic turn 2, but hopefully we'll draw like a plating or something. And we're going to just try to Inkmoth our opponents out of this game. We also have this Galvanic Blast. I left these in the deck because they can just kill our opponent. Like, we can get our opponent low enough to just do 4 to them a couple times. Or they can kill a Karn or something too. Alright, we might be getting Pyroclasmed. Yep. Ugh. Come on. Blinkmoth Nexus. Well, we're just gonna hit our opponent for 2 poison a turn. Our opponent's on a 4-turn clock essentially, so we just have to hope that that's gonna be good enough. Tron is a really good matchup for Affinity, but we've had some extremely awkward draws. I don't think that our hands are mulligans, but they just have not played out very well. And Pyroclasm has been really annoying too. We just need to draw. We've needed to draw like something. And we can use Blink Moth to pump Ink Moth Nexuses, or we can just attack with 2. Be sweet to draw something like a. This Grove signifies our opponent probably has Nature's Claim or something. No, maybe Sylvan Scrying. Yeah. Alright, this is probably getting the tower, or is this tower? Yep. Alright, so our opponent got enters this tower. So that it has access to Tron. Hopefully we draw something. Springleaf Drum. I think I'd rather just cast this drum than. I think I'd rather cast the drum than hit for 2 poison. Just gives us access to more mana potentially, depending on what we draw. And I probably should have played. Well, I didn't. I played the other. Yeah, I should have played the Glimmer Void instead of the Nexus, so I could play Galvanic Blast. That was just foolish of me. It would only do 2 damage, but maybe that's good enough. Let's hope 2 points of poison a turn is good enough, because we have not drawn like a plating or anything. A plating would be amazing, especially if our opponent like just taps out for something like a Worm Coil here. We can just draw a plating and stick it on a Nexus and hit for, I guess it would be like 3 damage or something. Would be great. I'd also accept a Ravager or just anything really. Something to increase our clock. Our opponent's taking a long time. Just Oblivion Stone. Each non-land permanent. Sweet. So Oblivion Stone does not do anything against these cards, which is sweet. There's a Cranial Plating, which it's exactly what we wanted. It's a little awkward in face of that Oblivion Stone, though. Alright, so let's just make a couple of Nexuses. And try to hit for a few poison. This might be like a Nature's Claim or something. Or just 2 poison? Sweet, 2 poison. Cool. Huh. Alright. Well, we do have Metalcraft right now. How much does this cost? 2? Fortunately, we can't cast this. Um, I didn't want to cast this into the face of this O-Stone. And there's no point to point out Galv Blast because 4 damage when we're trying to win with Infect is pretty irrelevant. And there's a Nature's Claim. We still have 2 more Nexuses, so that's fine. That does mess up our plating though. We would need 1 more mana for plating. 3, 6, 8, 10, 11. So our opponent has 11 mana. So hopefully we don't get like Ulamogged or something or Emrakuled pretty soon. It's definitely a thing that could very well happen. This is a really weird game, and I'm sorry that it's taking so long. I think our opponent's probably playing in multiple matches or something. Alright, not casting anything, it makes us wonder what is actually in our opponent's hand. Alright, so there's another Nexus. We're just going to try to Nexus our opponent out of this game. Again, I'm not casting plating because of O-Stone. Our opponent might have yet another Nature's Claim, which would suck. I hope our opponent just has like a bunch of O-Stones and Pyroclasms and stuff, and we can just get them 2 points of poison at a time. Alright, so there's another Nature's Claim. And 6. And our opponent's on a 2-turner with these 2 Nexuses. Like, I would think that Affinity or Tron would side out something like Emrakul against Affinity because of how fast this deck is, but maybe not. And we have to be careful of this Glimmer Void. So if our opponent does blow O-Stone to destroy Springleaf Drum, we have to make sure we activate one of these things on their end step. Or, yeah, at the beginning of the end step, when Glimmer Void triggers, we need to activate one of these things so that we don't lose our Glimmer Void. It's really important. Alright. Yeah, and sorry this game's taking so long. Hopefully we win it and get to play game 3, but honestly, even though it looks like 3, 6, 10 Worm Coil. Sure, yeah, Worm Coil is fine. We're at 30 life and it doesn't affect us that badly. Alright, we still have our Springleaf Drum, so Glimmer Void's fine. We drew another Blink Moth Nexus. That's pretty good. Yeah, we don't want to use this plating yet, but we will activate Nexus. It's just such a weird game. We can also use these Blink Moths. If he has yet another Nature's Claim, like a 3rd Nature's Claim, we can also use Blink Moth to pump Ink Moth too. So if he just goes to 8 poison here, like we're actually in. Even if he just goes to 7, man, yet another Nature's Claim. Dang it. Sure. So now we're actually in trouble to a Karn, which can blow up our last Ink Moth Nexus, and we'd have to win with damage. Alright, well, our opponent drew a Pyroclasm and 3 Nature's Claims against us, which is pretty good. Thankfully, they didn't have much beyond that. Like, a Worm Coil is not a great threat when we're at 35 and trying to win with Infect. Arcbound Ravager would win the game next turn, basically, assuming that our opponent doesn't have a 4th Nature's Claim. And here's the O stone is being blown up. Interesting. We only have 2 artifacts, so Galvanic Blast, not going to do anything. And this just means we're going to have to activate a Blinkmoth Nexus to preserve our Glimmer Void at the end of this next turn. Another tower, 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I mean, so if our opponent has Emrakul, you know, we're getting Emrakul, but I don't think that one last card is going to be Emrakul. Alright. And I think we can use, I think it works the way we want it to work, where we can wait until unstep till this triggers and then activate a Blinkmoth. Okay, good. It does work the way we want it to. There's another drum. Cranial plating. Alright, so... Ooh, yep. And we'll attack again. Don't have the 4th claim. Alright, our opponent does not have the 4th Nature's Claim. And let's go ahead and play a Cranial Plating. That'll keep our Glimmer Void around. Unless this is another Oblivion Stone. Sylvan Scrying. It's probably getting an Eye of Ugin, but our opponent's probably just dead to Nexus, so... Ghost Quarter. Oh no. That's bad news. Dang it. Now we have a real game. That's all 4 of our Nexuses. Alright, now we have to win with damage. That's highly unfortunate. We drew another drum. Okay. It's Thoughtcast. Drew an Ornithopter. Alright. We can use this Ornithopter to destroy the lifelink one, and then start to Cranial Plate with our Ornithopter and try to win that way. This is a crazy game. Alright, so let's blast the lifelink one. Because we want to not have our opponent gain 3 life every turn. Alright, nothing good. If our opponent doesn't have anything good, we can double plate up our Ornithopter and hit for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 damage. And that's actually a pretty fast clock. We'll see what this is. Karn or Ugin? Karn? Karn's surprisingly not that effective against us. He does just exile our Cranial Plating though. That's really, actually that is pretty good. Alright. Well, hopefully we can kill that Karn. This will help. Alright, it's equipped to the Ornithopter using the other Ornithopter, and now we have 7, 8, 9. We only have 9 damage. Alright, well, attack Karn, and attack Karn? No. Attack him. I think we'll leave the Karn on 2. That way he has to just plus it and we can kill it next turn with the plating. Oh man, just hoping our opponent bricks every turn. Our opponent can't, yeah, has to just plus Karn to exile nothing, and then drew something here, which is bad. Another Oblivion Stone. It's not the worst because it has to. It actually will blow up the Karn as well, but it slows our clock down significantly. So that's awkward. All right, so let's see how we. Ooh, still Overseer. That'll be sweet after the Oblivion Stone goes. All right, so let's see how we want to do this. Five. Well, let's activate a Blinkmoth Nexus. I think it's just one. And then we'll send Ornithopter at Karn and Nexus at 6 mu. And now, if our opponent blows the O-Stone, we can add a mana and use. No, we can just cast Steel Overseer post combat. That works. I think we just pump our Nexus here. Um, since our opponent's probably just gonna put a Fate counter on this Death Touch thing rather than use the Oblivion Stone. So. Oh, we did that wrong. We're gonna lose our Glimmer Post. Oh wait, no, I think we're fine. No, yeah, we did that wrong. Now if our opponent blows the O-Stone, we'll lose Glimmer Void. We definitely messed that up. We'll see if our opponent blows the Oblivion Stone or not. Okay, they put the Fate counter on. So we get to keep our Glimmer Void then. We definitely played that wrong though. Alright, attack. We'll take it. Hopefully our opponent drew another brick. Alright. Not doing anything. Thoughtseize. Do I want a Thoughtseize here? What could our opponent have drawn in play? They probably play a land, right? So I think a Thoughtseize is actually a fine card to cast here. Let's go ahead and Thoughtseize. Where's is mine? Okay, so nothing. And again, I just want to try to force our opponent to blow the Oblivion Stone. And now we can cast Steel Overseer. And I was willing to cast the Thoughtseize because it didn't change the clock from this worm token at all. Sphere. We know our opponent has a mine and an unknown. Expedition map is the draw. That's actually bad. That can find Eye of Ugin, which is going to start chaining worm coil engines. That's bad. Yeah, that's really bad. Okay. Or if they have it, I mean, I don't know if Emrakul's still in the deck, but if it is, we're probably dead. Ox Opal. Alright, no reason not to cast it. If this is an Emrakul, we're dead. Hopefully it's just a worm coil. It is just a worm coil. We can actually beat worm coil engine. With, if we draw an Arcbound Ravager. Yeah, Wormcoil is actually a beatable card with Arcbound Ravager. Fortunately, our opponent can cast probably two Wormcoils this turn, which may not be beatable. Depends on how many Wormcoils are still in the deck. Here's one. Searching for another, I'm assuming. Another Wormcoil, yeah. This is bad. Alright, so... What is our out? Draw Arcbound Ravager? Oh, we did. We drew Arcbound Ravager, wow. Alright, so we make this a Blink Moth and attack. No, we don't actually do anything, because we have to... We have to double block. We have to block both of these Wormcoils. And then sack. And then sack again to make these Blink Moths big. I don't know if that's enough. I don't know if that'll be enough, but that's really our only out. So we need to be able to activate both Nexuses, I think. Yeah, I want to be able to activate, unless attacking for 2 here is correct. Let's think. So we can make both of our Blink Moss 3/3s from the Steel Overseer, and then sacking Overseer to Ravager is going to make Ravager a 3/3. We can sack Opal to make it a 4/4. And then we can put 4 counters on our Nexus to make it a 7/7. So we'd have a 3 and a 7, which is 10 damage. But if we don't sack the Opal, we could draw Cranial Plating, which still isn't enough. Huh. What can we draw? I feel like there's a way to win this game, and I'm not sure if it involves attacking for 2 here or not. Yeah. Oh, cancel it. Alright, well, let's make one of these. Let's attack for 2 here. Let's see how that plays out. We can't use the Steel Overseer yet because we have to block both Wormcoils. Oh, man. That Ghost Quarter. It's a major tilt. Okay, Chromatic Sphere, sure. If there's a Pyroclasm in our future, we're just dead. But okay, well, yep. Alright, well, we lost. That's unfortunate. This is actually a really interesting game, and we got 2-0'd by one of our best matchups, which is unfortunate. But our draws didn't line up very well, and our opponent didn't have a much pressure this game, but did have just all the answers, which sucked. So, oh well. We'll have to start off 0-1 and see if we can crawl our way back with Affinity. Hopefully, you guys stick tuned for the other rounds.